Hey everyone, it has been a hot minute, but I'm back. I'm back. And today I wanted to go over some awesome watercolors by Jackman's Art Materials, not to be confused with Jackson's Art Supply. This is Jackman's Art Materials, and he kindly sent me these crystalline watercolors. And I've never used these before, I've never played with them before, and whoa, it's an experience. I have 7 of them here today to show you, and I am still practicing with these, still playing with these, trying to figure them out to create some really cool texture and effects. I mean, they're beautiful on their own, but trying to get the best experience with incorporating them into a landscape. So I have laid down a piece of cloth here because they get everywhere. I have an acrylic board here, a spray bottle, some water, and a mix of paper that's Arches and Canson XL. So let's get started with the first one. This is Poppy Red. Now you'll need a very light hand because they can pour out so fast. And if you put a little too much down, it can cause a very thick amount of paint. You'll see that I do that on accident later on in the video. So I'm spraying my paper down and I'm sprinkling it on. If you do not put too much of a spray down, it's not going to move. As you can see, it's not really moving here, so I give it another couple sprays. So you can give it a couple sprays, watch what it does, leave it for a moment, and if it's not moving, continue to spray it. The closer you get, the more that paint is going to blend together and push out together versus like a gentle stream of the water flowing. Now I did want to show you what happens if you don't want to spray it and you just want to put it on your paper and then mix it right there, because that's another option. The more of those crystals that are on your paper, the thicker and heavier it's going to be. So you can see how thick that paint is. Now, because I've added quite a bit of water, it will dry lighter, but you know, that's watercolor for you. But if you add even more of those crystals, it's going to be quite dark. Now, he did suggest to play with adding some of the pigment to water just to like let it, drip down. I absolutely love that. I did a video and shared it on Instagram and I think maybe Facebook. Actually here on YouTube as well. Anyway, just a little bit of some eye therapy for you. All right, next up we'll do Phthalo Blue. Again, spraying it down. Highly recommend playing with different amounts of splatter and spray. So not every spray bottle is the same, right? So you can have a fine mist, chunky droplets, really it's up to you. And you can go ahead and tap in some more water so you can see how much it is moving. And I love Phthalo Blue. It has lots of texture, so when it dries, I'll show you at the end of the video what they look like. And yeah, there's lots of texture, and the very light areas it dries into the paper, incredibly light, and you can see even more texture. Perfect color for sky. Absolutely love it. It's a lot of fun. And I am throwing lots of water because I want to see what is it going to do for me. Now, of course, I have been playing with these for a while, but for the video, just to show you what you can do. And I will say that these are really cool. If you want to get those initial washes and have beautiful, smooth blends, this is a really great way to do that without putting your brush constantly on the paper and just using the flow of water and pigment to melt the colors together. This is a really great way to do that using these types of watercolors because they're so strong to begin with, and as you add water, they just move around effortlessly from what I've experienced so far. Now he has a video on how to use these. I will put all of the information in the description below. You can go to his website You can purchase these, I believe, on his website. I purchased mine through Jackson's. As far as the other watercolors, these ones were sent to me. But I did purchase, I think, 18 or 20 of the small handmade watercolors in the tubes. And I've been loving those. So I will share a video on those in the future. And I'll incorporate these crystalline watercolors and landscape videos in the future as well, once I get a better hang of it. But I just wanted to share that with you. This one's quite cool, as you can see. I did big splatters and dropped the pigment in, and this one I tried to concentrate the water in certain areas, so when I dropped it in, it just naturally pooled. So if you were to use the wet into wet method and drop these colors in, I haven't done that yet. I didn't even think about how I could do that, so I'll have to do that next time. But you can see how much the one on the right is moving and how fast the colors are blending together. And now that I'm thinking about it, the one on the right, you know, if you've ever been to a circus, I mean, back in the day, you think of the circus tents. If you were to use the wet into wet method and wet a circus tent and drop that color in there, you would get some really cool effects, I would imagine. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? You know, those like the orange and the yellow and the red. Anyway, back in the day. This one turns into a beautiful purple, but I think the magic is not mixing it this way. It is to let it just naturally flow and get those mix of colors on its own. But if you wanted to mix your color, you would get the true color of what that mix is. Same with that orange. If I were to mix that all in one, it would turn into, you know, a pretty solid orange. A little secret to keep your paper flat, you can spray the back and the front of your paper to whatever surface you're going to put it on, and it stays flat pretty long. Now here's where I made my mistake. There it is. You really don't want to do that. I mean, by all means, if you want to experiment, you can. It does waste. But yeah, I had a little bit, it was my left hand, I'm right-handed, and so it got a little heavy-handed there, and it did not move and burst as much because of how thick it is compared to, as you can see, that green. But yeah, it, you know, again, learning here. Let me know in the comments below, have you tried these crystalline watercolors from Jackman's? Or I know that there's another you know, medium out there that is quite similar, and I can't remember the name of it at the top of my head. But it's the same idea as far as, you know, those little tiny crystals, and then they just burst when they hit water. You'll have to correct me and remind me in the comments below, because I am spacing on it at the moment. But anyway, it's the first time I've tried anything like this, and so it's quite fun. It's quite fun to experiment and figure out what you can get, what you like, what you can connect with, how you can incorporate it in your own style of art. So yeah, I have a little bit more ways to go, but so far I have been having so much fun. It is quite messy though, I will let you know. My fingers, everything, it's been stained, my desk, my towel, but it's quite fun. Again, absolutely love how the colors blend on a wet surface. I mean, if you take the two different colors of your choice to create this very beautiful, you know, wash without using a brush, to just get those beautiful transitions, that is so incredibly watercolor. These pigments are really strong, and you know, sometimes when you try to create those beautiful washes, I suppose you could use fresh paint to get the strongest value of color. You could definitely do that, But these are beautiful and highly pigmented. Now they're definitely bright. We all know that I love those more muted and darker tones. Now I have not experimented yet, toning them down with another color to bring it down. So I'll have to experiment with that as well. But we'll see. I mean, the possibilities are endless. You can just see right there the colors blending together. You wouldn't be able to get that with a brush. Now, I don't know what happens if you, because I haven't played with them long enough, if you leave those tiny little specks in there, if you have to completely wash them out, or if you can just leave them. Yeah, let me know in the comments below what your experiences are with that, or if Mark, you watch this video, let me know if that matters or if I can leave it. I personally really like the texture in there, but you definitely wouldn't want to re-wet it because obviously it would burst again. So I tried to create a little bit of a scene here, and it's very loose. I'm still learning. And I tried to create the crystals in a certain shape because I envision having a tree line here. But when you spray it too close, you can move them around like I did here. So I tried to spray them a little bit higher up. And sometimes the less spray, the better, because you can create, you can start to manipulate where you want the pigment to go. Again, this is not a controlled watercolor. Watercolor in general, you can't control for the most part. but these, I think the beauty really is the chaos of, if you want to have this type of effect, you can mix this all together, of course. But if you want to have, this effect where they kind of pool, especially when there's multiple colors in here, which is what I'm after. That's what I think is so beautiful about these type of pigment, is that I don't know if I'd be able to get this with regular watercolor. Maybe, but I don't know how to do it. Anyway, I'm lifting here a little bit, again, trying to think of some trees. I don't want it to be all crazy colors, to the top of the page. I want a little bit of some light reflecting in there. And I also explored adding some more of the sprinkles in and spraying it again to get an even deeper, more blooms. I guess that's what you could call these, almost blooming of watercolor. Lifting a little bit more. I did create some tree trunks. I pulled some of the color down, and then I added in a bit of red for the trunks. Now, you can do brown, of course, but I apologize for the noise. Typically, I record the videos early in the morning, but I'm recording this in the afternoon, and so there is quite a bit of sound that is traveling through the window. And it's the days of construction, so there's always construction this time to clean up any of the roads that have had, snow and issues. All right, so I sprinkled a little bit more, and I sprayed it because, again, it did kind of, start to dry and wash out. If you can see there. This would be perfect for fireworks, by the way. So I'll have to experiment with that as well. Yeah, there's quite a few colors on his website. Highly recommend checking it out. And yeah, there's quite a bit of other art materials on there as well. Now I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of salt on here just to see the different effect it can get. So play with using salt, play with using, a palette knife, play with using, I haven't tried alcohol before. That's just not something I use in my work, but that might be quite cool, or using saran wrap to get different texture to see what you can get. Look at the texture in that phthalo blue. Loved how that one turned out. And then the red, quite heavy-handed. It's still not even dry. You can see there on the left. But some really cool effects, really cool blooms. Love how strong the color was on this one. But you can see right there at the bottom what I'm talking about, that effortless blending together. And here's the one with the salt. Really cool. Want to say thank you again to Jackman's Art Materials, and I hope you guys give these a try. I'll see ya in the next video.